1J Fox body for another rip, another daily drive. See if I can do some better pulls today. What I won't do is like the 1320 guys. I love those guys, but man, it's crazy. Some of them cars doing $150 down the highway, ripping past cars. Someone's gonna get killed one day, but it's cool to watch. But not this guy. So a little bit more about this combo. The motor came out of, I believe, from the research I've done, a Soarer. It's a Japanese car, like around probably a 2002, I think. Soarer, from the research I've done, and from looking at those cars, they weigh around 3,800 pounds. Now this car weighs 2,800 pounds. So you can do the math, 1,000 pounds lighter, 320 horse. I mean, it moves pretty good. And the power band is completely different than a 302. My other Mustang, it's the opposite. Like the 302 makes power up until about 4,500 RPM. This car starts making power at 4,500 RPM, so it's like opposite. It really is a blast to drive, though. I got some Mickey Thompson street tires on it, and it doesn't spin at all. But then again, the 1Js they're kind of a turd out of the hole. From a dig, I don't think this car, I mean, at the track, maybe it would do a 2.0 60 foot, I don't know. I've been in some pretty fast cars. I had a Ultra Street car. I'll put a picture in right here. And that car had a small block Ford, Yates heads, 438 cubic inch dart block, the whole 9 yards. I ran an Ultra Street, and that car was pretty consistent. 1.2 flat 60 foot, and best I ever ran in that car was a 538 at 125. So this is a lot different than that. Obviously, I sold all my race car stuff because it just got too expensive. I couldn't compete. This was like 4 years ago when 530s would actually get you qualified. But now if you're not running 470, you're not qualified in that particular class. So I sold everything. Sold my truck, my trailer, the car, my golf cart, everything. I sold everything to go that I was using for racing. So, but I enjoy driving it. I mean, it was rough putting all your money into a car and then you drive it once a month, once every 2 months. You know, it just wasn't for me. I like getting in the car and taking it for a ride. Would be nice to be able to manually shift this thing though, with like a turbo 400 or a turbo 350, because sometimes this automatic transmission, sometimes it doesn't know what gear to be in. It seems like it's downshift once and then it downshifts again. It's like it doesn't know what gear to be in. So it's a little strange in that way. But yeah, I think I have a 373 gear. I think it needs more gear. I think it needs like a 410 gear, because it really, first gear winds out to like 60 miles an hour, and I think that's just too much. I think it needs to shift sooner. So I think a 410 gear would be just right for what I'm doing. Yeah, so pretty much all I have done to this car is Turbo Smart bleed off boost controller. It makes right at 15 pounds of boost. From all the research I've done, that's right around 320 horse, roughly. and I got a 3-inch downpipe and 3-inch exhaust all the way back into a Vibrant 3-inch muffler. That's it. And the Vibrant muffler is a pretty much straight through muffler. It's quiet, but when you get on it, it's kind of loud. I do want to go over like the cost and everything to do this swap. When I compared it to, originally I was going to build a 2.3 turbo, like an SVO motor for this thing. And when I started my research and I started putting together my spreadsheet on it, the cost was going to be, for the power I wanted to make in the 350 range, it was just going to cost too much, and it didn't make sense to me. And from all the research I've done, the SVO motors, when you get in the 350 range, I probably a lot of people disagree with me, but I see a lot of guys that have reliability issues when you start making that kind of power. You know, with a Beauport head, Beauport cams, aftermarket ECUs. Then you have to, you can't use a 4-cylinder transmission. You got to get a better transmission. It's just, the cost was way more than what it was to do the 1J swap. For instance, the Beauport head, a ported Beauport head to make the power I wanted to make was $1,800 for the head, just the head, not the cams, not all the upgrades. Not a turbo manifold, not a turbo, just the heads. Just the head, $1,800. I bought this entire motor, transmission, turbo, ECU, igniter, everything for $1,399. And then I added a boost controller and a 3-inch downpipe, and I'm over 300 horse. So that's the math I went off of. And I went ahead and said, you know what? I'm going to make it work. I don't care what it takes. I'm going to make it work because I'm already so far ahead cost-wise that it made sense. So. All right, so it is another nice day in Florida. But I know this ain't going to last. I'm gonna have to put the AC on this car. I have pretty much everything I need to do the AC. The compressor's on there. It's mounted. I have the dryer. I just need to get a condenser. Basically a condenser and lines. That's all I really need to get the AC working. Got to do custom lines because I have Ford evaporator and a Toyota compressor, so they're totally different. I'll have to get some custom lines made. God damn, sometimes this thing scares me because you think it's in the right gear, but then it goes to another gear and shifts down again. But man, it pulls like crazy. I'm like surprised. This thing, I can't believe how much it pulls. I mean, for the street. So basically, this is exactly half of a motor of half of my 302. It's 2.5 liters. Compared to 5 liters in my 88, and this thing, it feels twice as fast. It's crazy. I know it's a turbo, but I can't imagine what this thing would do with a top mount precision turbo, 60 millimeter, some billet precision on a tune. Man, this thing would be a nightmare on the street. car's not that loud. I don't know if I want that kind of attention from the cops. Alright, so I gotta head to Walmart, one of my favorite stores in the world. Not really. And but I'll be right back. Alright, just got done at Walmart. Now I gotta head to the bank and Starbucks. Man, Walmart's brutal to go into. Reminds me of the county fair. Shouldn't judge. So I definitely think that the main thing with this car is the horsepower to weight ratio. It's really good. And there is this myth out there with horsepower ratings for parts. Like for a transmission, what's the horsepower rating of the transmission? What's the horsepower rating of the rear end? And honestly, it has a lot more to do with the weight ratio. And what clutch you use. Okay, so if I was to put a R154 in here, and a lot of guys will put, a lot of the drifters will use like a puck style clutch. Well, if I was to do that with a drag setup, with a puck clutch, you can say goodbye to rear end, say goodbye to transmission, say goodbye to all that. You gotta use like a softer clutch, you know, for drag racing, because you want the clutch to be the fuse, not the you know, $2,000 transmission, not the, you know, blow up a rear end. You want the clutch to be the fuse. You know, it's in you know, $100 disc, but, you know, anyway. Factory computer in this car, on this motor, cuts timing or fuel or something whenever it shifts. So it gives me like this, like, little explosion whenever it shifts. It's kind of, it sounds kind of cool. All right, it's officially, I'm officially addicted to Starbucks coffee. I love it. I think they put something in it, like crack or something, to make you come back. Like they purposely want you addicted to it. Anyway, back to the horsepower rating I was talking about. So yeah, I mean, I believe that this transmission that's in here is going to survive longer at higher horsepower ratings than it would in a car that originally came in. I mean, the car that originally came in was, you know, almost 4,000 pounds. This car weighs 2,800. I mean, you're not moving as much mass. It's not as much strain on the tranny. So, I don't know. We'll see. I just, if you're looking to do this swap, I have to say I highly recommend it. It's not the easiest thing in the world to do. But if you take your time and you know, take it step by step, day by day, and just accomplish one goal every day, you work on it. You say, I'm gonna do this, and that's how I had to do it. It took me almost 2 months to do the swap, but you got to be very persistent. And Google is your friend in this situation. Believe me. You know, there's a lot of information out there on wiring. Okay, when you buy these motors, fix this. When when you buy these motors, they require a little bit of maintenance when you first buy them. Don't just buy it and then slap it in. I did valve seals, I did crank seals, I did the rear main seal, the front main seal, the cam seals, valve cover gaskets, all that. It's basically, you're going to spend about $400 in gaskets to refresh it. Highly recommend that. When I got this motor, when I pulled the plug out, there was oil soaked all over the plugs. So what it was a leaky head gasket and leaky valve seals. So you just got to go through the motors, because you got to remember, I mean, this is like, it's from 2002, maybe 2000, I don't know, but it's probably been sitting in a car in a junkyard maybe for years, or sitting, you know, on a boat, you know, in a shipping container for who knows how long. And so you want to do all that. You know, you want to make sure whoever you buy it from, make sure whoever you buy it from does a compression test. With this particular motor, I got it from Texas JDM, I think it was, and they had a video of the compression test, and this motor was 170 across the board cold, that's really good. You know, when you go to buy these, they all claim damn this camera. They all claim 45,000 miles, 45 to 60,000 miles. But you can't trust that. You cannot trust that. Do your homework on it. Do your compression test. Replace all the seals. But other than that, I mean, think about it. It's a Japanese motor. As long as you're not messing, you know, taking it apart, messing with the reliability of it, they're gonna run a long time. I mean, you know, that's the way they build them. They build them to you know, last forever. You want to do all that. The prices on these motors are actually starting to go up, so I kind of recommend, if you want one, maybe grab one now. I mean, they don't make them anymore, so whatever is left is what's left. That's it. I was actually thinking of picking up another one just because I was thinking of buying like a Toyota Tacoma, like an older Toyota truck, and maybe putting a 1J in it. I thought that would be pretty cool. I've seen a couple people do that. And I think it's more, in a Toyota truck, it's more of a direct bolt-in. It's not, you know, not all the modifications I had to make with this. So yeah. So the K member that I used is a Team Z K member. I think I mentioned that before. But you have to modify it a little bit. You have to. The oil pan will hit the motor mounts that come on the K member. The motor mounts on the K member are a little bit long. Kind of hard to explain. Maybe I'll put a picture in of what I'm talking about. You have to cut them and shorten them. So what it does, it ends up making more room for the oil pan. And you're going to want a rear sump oil pan for Fox bodies, not a front sump. And I don't recommend buying a motor that's a front sump and then just saying, oh, I'll convert it to a rear sump, because the rear sump oil pan is expensive, like $700. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. So try to find one that's rear sump. That's why I believe this motor came out of a Soarer, because the Soarers, from what the research I've done, were rear sump. So I don't know if that helps anybody. So the most popular car these motors go into is the 240, obviously. The drift kids, and those are front sump. You want that to be a front sump. So the front sumps are actually more popular. I got kind of lucky getting this one for the price I did, $1,300. It was $1,399 plus like 200 and some shipping. And it was rear sump, had everything. I started on the floor when I got it home. So, but yeah, let me know if you guys like these videos. Subscribe. That way I know if you want me to make more. You can get more information on this swap. I enjoy talking to the camera because it's easier for me to talk to a camera than it is people. My social anxiety is my problem. So anyway, until next time.